So what that means is that we're going to be taking the book we're reading, Superstorms, and turning it into an informative paragraph. Now you should recognize this form. And when I say structured, I mean we're going to have an opening, 4 transitions, and a closing. And it's all going to be about storms. And you're going to choose 3. Here I've chosen tornadoes, hurricanes, and blizzards. You know, I like to fill in my topic sentence or my opening sentence just as a placeholder until I know what the whole thing's going to be about. So I'm going to write, I know about 3 kinds of storms. I'm going to use my favorite transitions to begin with. In addition, finally, and as you can see. You will still be able to click on the link for transitions to pick out your own transitions, but you will not have choices for your opening or your closing. You'll be coming up with them yourself. So we started reading Superstorms on Monday. So yesterday when we read the story, we highlighted the main ideas and underlined important details so that we could come up with sentences or questions about those details. So I think if I were going to write about thunderstorms, I would start with the main idea. So I might write, I know that thunderstorms are heavy rain showers. Then I would want to choose a detail. I could see that it tells us about the amount of water that a thunderstorm makes and how much the lightning can destroy things like trees and houses, and how lightning can start fires in the forest or the grasslands. What I'm wondering is, which detail would you pick if you were going to write about thunderstorms? If I was going to write about thunderstorms, I would choose water. And I wouldn't write exactly what they wrote. They can drop millions of gallons of water in just 1 minute. I might change that around a little and write, in just 1 minute, they can drop millions of gallons of water. So I just switched it up. If I wanted to include hailstorms in my informative writing, I would probably start with the main idea. Hailstones are chunks of ice. And then I would want to choose a detail. It tells us that the size of hail can be as small as a marble or larger than a baseball. It tells us how many hailstorms are in the United States every year, and it tells us the kind of damage that hailstorms can create. What I'd like to know is, which detail would you pick? If I was going to choose one of these details, I would choose damage. But I wouldn't write they can destroy crops and damage buildings and cars. I would write cars and buildings can be damaged in a hailstorm. And then I would go back and read my whole writing over. I know about 3 kinds of storms. To begin with, I know that thunderstorms are heavy rain showers. In just 1 minute, they can drop millions of gallons of water. In addition, hailstones are chunks of ice. Cars and buildings can be damaged in a hailstorm. I think I want to add a little something to hailstones or chunks of ice, like that fall from the sky. So in addition, hailstones are chunks of ice that fall from the sky. I like that better. So if I wanted to include tornadoes in my informative paragraph, I would probably want to mention this main idea of what it is. Tornadoes are funnel-shaped clouds. So I might write something like, tornadoes are funnel-shaped clouds. Then I would look at the details. Over here it says how fast the wind is, the wind speed, 300 miles per hour. It also tells us the kind of damage that those winds cause, lifting cars off the ground and ripping houses apart. It tells us how many there are per year in the United States. That would be 1,000. And it tells us when it happens during the spring and summer. What I'm really interested in is what detail you would pick if you were adding tornadoes to your writing. So I decided to include wind speed because that's the big thing about tornadoes, in my opinion. So I would write the wind can spin up to 300 miles per hour. So if I wanted to write about hurricanes, because there's so much information, I would have to replace one of the ones I have. So I think I'm going to read it over and see which one I would like to replace with hurricanes. I know about 3 kinds of storms. To begin with, I know that thunderstorms are heavy rain showers. In just 1 minute, they can drop millions of gallons of water. In addition, hailstones are chunks of ice that fall from the sky. Cars and buildings can be damaged in a hailstorm. Finally, tornadoes are funnel-shaped clouds. The wind can spin up to 300 miles per hour. I think I'm going to replace tornadoes with hurricanes. And I'll start with the most deadly storms in the world are hurricanes. Now you'll be typing inside the box and it will expand for you. I'm typing outside the box because I want to keep it all on one little page. So let's look at the details that we get about hurricanes. It tells us the size, that they stretch for hundreds of miles. It tells us how fast the wind speeds are, not quite as bad as tornadoes, but 200 miles per hour. It tells us when we get hurricanes, in early summer to mid-fall. It tells us about the damage waves can do to beaches and boats and houses. And it tells us what the wind damage is, uprooting trees and telephone poles. And it also says that it causes floods. What I'm wondering is which detail you would pick if you were going to write about hurricanes. If I was going to write about hurricanes, I would write about floods because I have personal experience with that. So the most deadly storms in the world are hurricanes. They can cause power outages that last for weeks and flooding that takes months to recover from. So that's not really in the text. That's my personal experience, but it does talk about flooding. All right, blizzards. If I wanted to add blizzards to my writing, I would have to replace something again. Now, you won't have to be replacing anything in yours because you can pick the 3 storms that you want to write about before you start writing. I just want to give you examples. So I'm going to replace hailstorms with blizzards for now. So I'm going to use blizzards or huge snowstorms, but I'm going to switch that up a little and say huge snowstorms are called blizzards. Now I'm going to choose a detail. Here they show us the wind speed of 35 miles per hour. They show us that that it snows at least 2 inches an hour, that the temperature has to be 20 degrees or lower, and that the visibility is low, which means that you can't see. Things are not visible. So the visibility is low in a blizzard. What I'd like to know is which detail would you pick? I think that I would choose visibility because I have experience with that. So I might write, driving in a blizzard is impossible because of the visibility and snow on the ground. Because I've been in a blizzard before. So that was the closing of our story. Notice that there were no more details about any specific storms. It just says no one can prevent storms, but weather reports can predict and warn us when a storm may hit. The more prepared we are, the safer we will be when the next one strikes. So I also need a closing here, but I'm going to read through my whole writing and just kind of see what kind of closing will feel right. When you're reading through your writing, you'll usually always find something that you can improve upon. I know about 3 kinds of storms. To begin with, I know that thunderstorms are heavy rain showers. In just 1 minute, they can drop millions of gallons of water. In addition, huge snowstorms are called blizzards. I can see that I have a capital here and here that I really don't need because this is the beginning of this sentence. In addition, huge snowstorms are called blizzards. So this is not the beginning of the sentence. This is. So I'm going to fix that. And blizzards doesn't need to be capitalized either. So in addition, huge snowstorms are called blizzards. Driving in a blizzard is impossible because of the visibility and snow on the ground. I'm going to add low visibility here. Finally, the most deadly storms in the world are hurricanes. I need to fix that because world is spelled with a D. Finally, the most deadly storms in the world are hurricanes. They can cause power outages that last for weeks and flooding that takes months to recover from. As you can see, I'm going to say that as you can see, storms are a powerful source of nature. I like that as a conclusion or a closing. And that makes me think of a good title, Powerful Storms. That feels good to me too. So you're going to be writing a title. Now I know I want to revisit my opening sentence, but before I do that, I'd like to know what 3 storms do you think you might want to write about? So let's go back to Peer Deck, and I want you to circle the 3 storms that you might write about. All right, so let's think about opening sentences. Right now I know about 3 kinds of storms. I know about 3 kinds of storms. I also could write something like, there are 3 types of storms that I know about. Or, I would like to tell you about 3 kinds of storms. Here we're speaking to the reader. Or, there are 3 types of storms that I would like to tell you about. Or, would you like to know about 3 types of storms? A question is always good. Did you know that there are different kinds of storms? Or you could write more than one sentence for your opening, like the author of the book did. There are many different kinds of storms. I would like to tell you about 3 of them. So these are all different opening sentences that you can have. As long as you don't have any details about any types of storms, you should just write what feels right to you. So what could be your opening sentence? I need you to write an opening sentence for your informative paragraph. Don't forget you can use the microphone, but think about what you want to say before you say it. So your assignment is to write an informative paragraph about storms. You'll find the assignment under ELA Storm Writing under Wednesday. If you click on that link, it will take you to this form or this doc that we were looking at in the lesson. The only difference between this and the others that you've done is that you're writing a title today and you're writing your own opening and closing. You can still use transitions, and at the bottom there will be a link to this movie, and there will be a link to the textbook where you can listen to the reading. In addition, if you like, you can go back up to Tuesday and open up the slide deck from yesterday And you can use this slide deck, which has the main ideas highlighted and the details underlined. So what I'd like to know is, do you understand the assignment? In other words, not do you think this is going to be easy, but do you think you understand what I'm asking you to do? If yes, you can click here for the assignment, and then you can come back here and I'm going to put you in a small group. If you don't understand the assignment, try to think of a question that you can ask to be more clear about what you are doing. Okay, so answer the question, do you understand the assignment? And good luck.